So in a world where AI agents are negotiating and contracting and paying each other autonomously, what do you see as the role of crypto in that play?
Well, clearly, crypto is the currency of AI. And the reason for that is crypto is the currency of the internet.
Hmm.
Since, for example, when you set up a program, you can have that program access private keys. Like one way to think about it is crypto is a 10 or 100x or infinity x over the existing system on many axes that people don't normally think about. For example, you can set up a bank account equivalent, a crypto wallet, in fractions of a second. You can set up as many as you want. You can bind those to whatever you want, right? All that cannot be done with a bank account. A traditional bank account, you have to go to the store, no, sorry, the branch and present your ID. So to simply set up a program or a robot and give it a wallet takes fractions of a second. Just that practical thing alone, forget everything else I'm going to say. Just that practical thing alone means obviously crypto is the currency of the robot and of the AI, right? Then going further, like legacy fiat is locked down in so many different ways. You don't notice this as when you just are buying Starbucks or whatever as a mezzanine level transaction. If you want to do transactions that are very large, very small, very fast, very automatic, very international, very transparent, or very complex, you need crypto. And so if you
will
have
today's banks make it, or will they be all displaced by crypto native banks?
they're already getting displaced. It's a good question. They're all becoming crypto exchanges. Crypto exchanges are the new banks because they actually have peering relationships across borders. They have a back end.
How many years before we see the current major banks no longer, you know, around? When do they become disrupted? When do they become Macy's?
So it's a great question. Very good question.
Retail banking and the other types of banking. Retail banking really gets.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was at the Washington Post working for Don Graham for a year, right when it was, the internet, Google was just taking over the world, and there was no turning it around. And that was kind of tragic, and all investigative reporting died in the process. I don't see it the same way though with banks, because you're talking about M1 here. Everything you said is exactly right. It's going to happen, Balaji, just the way you said. But banks don't just sit there as a place to hold M1. They have a lot more. They make loans to consumers. They evaluate their credit. There's many types of banks, but very little of what they do is impacted by the transition that you just outlined.
Okay.
And so it's going to happen the way you phrased it. But then, what's the subset that's impacted?
I still want to hear your predictions on when we're going to see the current banks we all know and love.
Yes.
I won't name them, disappear.
Disappear. Like Macy's is, I think it's still around.
Yeah,
but
it's still around. Okay. And no, it become minor.
No, irrelevant. Yeah.
Irrelevant.
I would argue, among the power user, it's already happened.
Sure.
Right. In the sense of you basically, you could have a crypto, crypto is being used for, like Thailand, for example, just switched over to accepting crypto for various things. Many countries are flipping.
Everybody, my Fountain Life is now accepting crypto for payments on your longevity treatments.
Totally. Right? So by the way, China is the exception to everything I'm saying, right? Because China will maintain control, the Great Firewall and China's system, CCP and BTC will be like the USA and or the USSR and the USA of this century, right? Because they're the centralized party, total control over everything versus the decentralized currency.
2030, 2035. I'm still
2035, I think. But let me explain why, right? And why do I think it comes faster than you might think?
I'm going to keep his hand on the stove.
Very short answer. Short answer. I wrote another article on BalajiS.com called "The Billionaire Flippening." Okay. And so a long time ago, Olaf Carstenwies, the founder of Polychain, is a friend of mine for a long time. We calculated that somewhere between $100,000 and $1 million for Bitcoin, half the world's billionaires become crypto.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And
it basically eats everything else of value in their
That's portfolio. Right. The next 10x dilutes down all fiat billionaires.
Yep, for sure.
By a lot.
Including states,
including banks.
Slow this down for everybody. I want people to understand what this means. Right. So if someone's got $1 million of crypto in the bank, it becomes, and they had $1 million of other assets, crypto is 50% of their portfolio. All of a sudden, if it goes 10x, all of a sudden crypto is 90%, 95% of the portfolio.
That's exactly right. And the purchasing power of it, at a certain point, what happens is it destabilizes and it goes 1 million, 10 million because people flip. And that's actually the numeraire, right? That's already happened in the crypto space where all investments are denominated in Bitcoin terms.
Do you see any future? Do you see any future in which crypto fails in any fashion, or Bitcoin fails in any fashion? Are we way past that right now? I mean,
Uh,
one of the
There's
things
definitely ways it could fail. So
Okay.
let me say
Yeah.
how it could fail.
Please.
So first is, so quantum is now, okay, let me talk about, so quantum cryptography, that's an area to watch. Okay.
Mhm.
The main issue is not that quantum safe, it's a very technical issue, but quantum safe encryption can be deployed in Bitcoin, but moving all of the funds would take a long time, right? Moving them on chain. So there'd have to be some sort of hard fork or something like that, which, you know, and this is the current state of development as I understand it. I'm not in the bits and bytes, so you may be misspeaking. But the there'd have to be some significant protocol change to enable that, like a giant, you know, like airlift out, right? Like a deployment of something that significantly changed the code. But miners and everybody would have to consent to that. They probably would, but that would be a thing. With that said, crypto as a class will not disappear from this earth because there's now enough different currencies with enough different protocols and enough different mechanisms that there's a degree of herd immunity, right? There's enough different immune systems where the kinds of vulnerabilities that proof of work has with Bitcoin are distinct from the vulnerabilities that proof of stake has and actually complementary. Proof of stake, you can have a bunch of humans that are distributed globally, right? In theory, if they colluded, they could rewrite the blockchain. Proof of work requires physical data centers, but they can't rewrite the blockchain, right? So there's different failure modes, and then you can do things where you hash Ethereum state to Bitcoin and so on. So I think that crypto as a class of things will not disappear from the earth. Any individual chain could be attacked. But then what could happen is you can snapshot that chain and issue it on another chain.
I think the core here is that once you understand the Byzantine general's problem with that innovation, you can't undo that. It's here.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, with Bitcoin, by 2035 or so, maybe sooner, maybe later, just like you're not the president if you don't have a social media account, you're not like a country if you don't have cryptocurrency. Like you're not solvent.
Yeah.
And
you're not able to operate in the accelerating exponential future.
That's right.
Period.
Bitcoin becomes the government of governments.